Hey YouTubers, it's me, Lonnie Clark, Nuts for Art. So the title of this Google Plus Hangouts is January 20th, Why It Matters We Take to the Streets. And I'm talking about on January 20th, which is this coming Saturday. Hang on, I'm looking for something that can't find it. This is the thing. I get it. I've had people say to me, you think if you get rid of Trump, you're going to get rid of the worst machine? No, but you know what? Like this is serious totalitarianism. He is seriously exercising totalitarian tactics. And we cannot tolerate it as Americans. And we have to speak out against it, and we have to say no to it. And it is not really an option. We do have a form of law that is it has been shown to, we can make it work. Unfortunately, we got taken over during World War II. They infiltrated the United States, and they have not forgotten. They have long memories, and they're exercising their muscles right now. This business with Trump refusing to show us his tax returns, and then having dodgy connections with Russia. I mean, outrageous. It's beyond comprehension. He's an open racist, openly. The policies he is making, the fact that he turned down DACA, that he's upending Salvadoranians, he's upending the Haitians, he's upending people from many nations, actually, many smaller nations that have been hurt by American capitalism, intentionally or by the military, where our military overthrew their budding democracies, and we installed a dictator whom we trained how to torture people at the School of Americas, which is now called something else. And I'm not saying getting rid of Trump is going to end all that, but we do have to stand, and we have to stand up against all of it. Like the Republicans actually refusing 100%. They are actually refusing to govern. They are disrespecting the laws that we have on the books in regards to the investigation, actually to the budget, the way they're playing games with people. We have children without health care that have been helped quite a bit. I mean, they are totally, Trump signed in a law today that allows people who don't believe in birth control to say, no, I'm not going to write you a prescription for birth control. That is so outrageous. I mean, there's a lot of women, this is the hard part about it. Yeah, their medications aren't good, but women have a right to control their bodies. And we need to have the herbs that are legal, a woman can't take, this is the thing, there are natural things, but you can't find them in the United States. You have to get, it's much more difficult for women to find out about how to not get pregnant. And that's the primary goal when you're young, is like, just don't get pregnant, because after that, life changes once you have kids. And this is the thing. We are in the crux right now, you guys, of if we don't stand up against traitor Trump, and just like us not standing up against Obama when he lied to us right to our face. I was one of those who believed Obama when he said, yeah, Fukushima's fine. I actually think that he has swallowed the Kool-Aid, that he thinks it's perfectly fine. He swims in the ocean in Hawaii since Fukushima's happened. So, I mean, I get it. Standing up against Trump on January 20th is not going to change the entire system. But we have got to stand up against him, because he is they're going to do whatever they can do for as long as and hard as they can do it, unless we stop them. And that's the reality. I mean, it's up to us. I mean, they are, there's over 1 million people whose lives they have completely disrupted, who have been living in America for 20 years, who are as American, if not more American than they are. They've worked their asses off here in our country. Trader Trump's never worked a hard day in his life. He's going to Mar-a-Lago again this weekend. Why does he even bother coming back to Washington, D.C.? Why doesn't he just like resign and say, hey, I'm done? Because you know why? He's a narcissistic, misogynistic, racist, bigoted, power-hungry maniac. And honestly, he is a danger to the entire world. I am just stunned. I can't believe that the women's movement is co-opting this. Oh, it's the women's march. No, it's a people's march. It's not a women's march. It's a people's march, and we, the people, need to stand up against Donald Trump right now, and Mike Pence and the American Taliban and the mafia that's running the government right now, and the military who's sitting at his side. I mean, the military men that he has giving him advice are 100% white supremacists. Who do you think that guy is? John Kelly. You think he's not a huge white supremacist? You think he's not the guy who was behind his ear in DACA? Oh, you can't do this. You got to change it. You got to change it. I mean, these people are dangerous. This is turning our. A long time ago, I said this is like Pinochet 2.0. I actually thought the CIA planted Trump in the government so he could like actually disrupt the whole apple cart and disrupt whatever part of like social, social democracy we were building. They're just like, forget that. We're coming back to strong militarism. I mean, I could not believe it, frankly, when this Congress rubber stamped John Kelly and Mad Dog Mattis in their positions. Those are two people who shouldn't be there. So it matters that we stand up. We are not going to stop the machine, but it does matter that we stand up to this open racist, the open bigotry, and breaking the Constitution, like just straight up breaking the Emoluments Clause. Yes, it is illegal. The judge did not say that it was without merit. He said that it is up to Congress. Paul Ryan ought to be having hearings as to whether there really is any breaking of the Emoluments Clause. That's the process. And if there is none, then they show it. But if you look at the Constitution, folks, the Emoluments Clause is pretty clear. In fact, let's do that. I'm going to do that. Because this is why it's important that we, let's see if I can come over here. I was trying to find out about Wilbur Ross. I was going to share that with you, but screw that. We know they're all evil and corrupt. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to do that. I don't know what it's going to take to get Americans out in the street. Fukushima spewing for 7 years, right onto the United States, folks. Right into the Pacific. Children are dying of brain cancer in this country. Our children are literally dying. They're killing our children and affecting our children. High levels of autism in this country. Why? Why do we have it? For a multitude of reasons. It skyrocketed when they tripled up the vaccines, so now we're shooting our kids up with lots more dangerous drugs. But what about the nuclear pollution? What about the chemical pollution, the forever chemicals? We got those. We have the brownfield sites. We have the Superfund sites. It's outrageous in the United States. And I get it, getting Trump. But you know what Trump has done? He's loosened up all those regulations on dumping and trash. Oh, those pesky regulations. You just wait to see how many lives are going to be destroyed because these corporations are going to be able to dump their sewage, their toxic sewage in people's backyards and destroy their water supply and just, make everything a rotten mess by gross negligence. That's what relaxing the regulations does. Now, I'm not saying that the EPA has even run halfway clean because it's every polluter's advocate. That's what the EPA has turned into. Did you see that guy Breen testify in front of the Congress today? He's a career guy. And you know how many less people we're going to have? I think the number was like 11,000 less people at the EPA, or 4,000, something, some number. There was someone was talking about 11,000, but I think it was like 4,000 less employees at the EPA when they're loosening up the regulations, and we're going to need more. You think it doesn't matter that we don't go out in the streets and say, no, you're not dismantling the United States of America? He's already knocked us out of the leadership position of the world. He just opened the door to China, to his friends, Vlad, I don't know. America needs to take our place back in the world, not just as bullies. We need to take our place back as Americans, being real Americans, getting engaged in our government. Getting out. Just say no, calling your congressmen, calling your senators. Do more than vote. Take it back. This is why we have to get out on the street on January 20th. It's more than the Me Too movement, because we're all Me Too. We have all been harassed. We've all been through it. Now, sexual harassment's got its own flavor, but you're telling me that intimidation and causing people to work their lives to death is, I mean, there's just a lot of harassment all the way around. This is just not, we have not built a good system. And to me, the open corruption that the Trump administration is doing, and their willful intent to harm our country, to harm people who have been living in our country, to harm Americans. As far as I'm concerned, DACA recipients are Americans. I think this is so outrageous, the way they're doing immigration in this country and the bigotry based on it. And yes, we can let anybody who wants to come here come here. Why not? For goodness sakes, we took over the lands from the First Nations. We destroyed everybody. It's outrageous. And it needs to stop. And that's why we need to go to the streets on January 20th and stand up. And I honestly think we need to demand impeachment hearings. We need to call on Paul Ryan to start impeachment hearings. This is outrageous. What is it going to take? The news comes out today that really, from as Christopher Steele reports, what they discussed, that guy that was talking Fusion GPS, they were talking about what they discovered and what they found out. It's beyond outrageous. Trader Trump has been doing business with the Russian mafia in the back for quite a while. That is outrageous. That's not just good business. Vladimir Putin is not interested in helping our country or democracy. He fucks with his own democracy. He's not a democratic leader. This is outrageous that Donald Trump even has the nerve and the audacity to run for president, and Mike Pence knows all about it. So does Ryan. This is why it matters we take to the street, because Ryan knows, they all know, Nancy Pelosi, they all know Trader Trump is just filthy mafia, dirty New York money. Just like Chucky Schumer, only Chucky Schumer runs with them billionaires. That's the difference. Trump is just a little, I'm not going to get into name calling him, but the bottom line is we need to take to the streets because it matters. A man sitting in the White House with racist, white supremacists, misogynists all around him, they are dangerous. And the rules and the regulations they're imposing and the way they're pointing the Justice Department, it is dangerous to people, dangerous to our Constitution. It's harmful. The rules he's rolled back on the EPA is outrageous. People are going to get long-term, lifetime illnesses from this. If you have not listened to Erica Dugan, who is a victim of fracking, essentially, and she's speaking out. And what's happened, her healthcare providers basically told her, you need to leave the state if you want to get real help. Because she's speaking out. That's the kind of country that we're building here. It's like outrageous. This is like we're letting the mafia take over. That's why I'm taking to the streets on January 20th, this Sunday. It's going to be at the Women's March at the Federal Building down there. They sent me an email. Do I want to carry their posters? Hell no. I'm going to make my own posters, and I'm going to make this about getting out against traitor Trump, because that is what this guy is. He is a traitor. By no uncertain means of the word, he is not just a greedy pig, he is a traitor. Literally, they have done some sneaky treason. Is not done because you want to hurt your country. Treason is done for greed. Most treason is done for greed, and you don't even realize you're being played because you think you're just making money. And you do know you're sort of exchanging things like these dirty little secrets. They're like, we got dirt on Hillary, and we can blackmail Trump. Like that's the reason that you don't want people invested in foreign countries, because you can be blackmailed. And in fact, that's exactly, what do you think that this guy Flynn is doing? He's singing like a bird. And this is why we have to take to the streets, because you know what? This is outrageous. This is like beyond outrageous. It's almost as if the coup has happened. Pinochet 2.0 has happened. The only difference is they let this video, I guess I'm going to be on somebody's shit list now or something. They'll let this video out there, and there's going to be, I don't know, I hope to God that everybody shows up on the streets on this Saturday, noon or 1 o'clock in your town. Just take to the streets like people did last year. Because every year that this January 20th passes, if he's in office, I'm taking to the streets. I object to this person being in the White House 100%. His whole gang of thugs ought to just be thrown out on their tails. All of them. I mean, Wilbur Ross was president. He was a vice chair on the Bank of Cyprus. That is outrageous. The Bank of Cyprus is where they launder all the money for the Russian mafia. And it's very well known. It's not me making this up. Just look it up. It's easy. It's all over the place. That's who our Commerce Secretary is, folks. Really, this is what this guy, and the worst part is our senators all approved of this guy. This is the state of it. We expect Paul Ryan to give a damn. That's why I'm taking to the streets. It's not just against traitor Trump. It's against Pelosi and their same old bullshit. Like the Republicans, the Democrats, they all just suck. For real. And you know what? I'm taking to the streets on January 20th. But I honestly think we need to impeach Trump. Super bad. It's a matter of integrity. We cannot let this gangster be at the top of the head of our country. He's dangerous and he's a lazy man. He's going back to Mar-a-Lago. He's not going back to Mar-a-Lago to rest up. He's going there to make business deals because people can come and talk to him in his business, and he can just go say, okay, what do you want us to do? And he's making all these deals using our government for his own personal gain. I mean, it is so corrupt, you guys. We have never seen this open corruptness in all of our years, with a little chatter-faced white supremacist military guy chomping in his ears, Mad Dog Mattis, who's a murderer. I mean, it is beyond it's like Americans putting up with fucking Fukushima for 7 years. Like, people need to take to the streets and just stop being so passive. January 20th is this weekend, you guys. Get out in the streets. Make your protest sign. Even if you want to bring something like that. Peace on earth. Get out and remind people that we are human. That we care. That we are not just going to let them suck our bloods and we're just going to sit there passively while the freaking Republicans and Democrats turn our country into a totalitarian regime. Authoritarian bureaucratic regime where they can, I mean, we are almost there. We're hanging by a thread, you guys, and it is going to matter. So please take to the streets on January 20th. And I know there's people out there that think that Trump has done a good job. Trump has stumbled into having some things happen, but he is a complete failure as a leader. And he is a bigoted, racist, misogynistic, greedy bastard who's an oligarch, who doesn't believe in helping out people like you or me. And it is important that we get out. It's us creating our lives. We create our lives. You can either check out or check in. I mean, if you stay in all the time and you just give up, then what? There's no need for us to hide like this in our own country behind all these people. Allow these cops to murder children, continue to murder children. I mean, the whole code of secrecy behind the police union, their whole thing of their rights as a police officer. This is why they get away with it. We've written them laws. Americans want to understand why things are bad. It's because we just let them do it. So you want to, like, it's super important that we get out and we start getting involved and understanding how we're going to make it change, because it is changing without us if we don't do it. And it's not going in a good direction. It's going quite militaristic. And I personally do not want my grandchildren growing up in Chile under the Pinochet 2.0. I'm going to do something about it. And I'm taking to the streets January 20th. I am calling my congressmen, my senators, cowards that they be. You know, Pete DeFazio is going to be out there this Saturday, so that'll be good. I'm sure Jeff Merkley will be too. They'll be in one of the cities. I doubt Ron Wyden would be, but maybe he will. Who knows? I don't know if it's all a game, but I'm going to protest because that's the time we have. And, you know, and I'm going to say this. If you make any nasty comments about me, I'm just going to block you, because you don't like what you hear. Yes, I'm a flaming liberal, and yes, I hate all of that whole system, but I'm not willing. You know, I believe in democracy. I believe in nonviolent life. And it, you know, democratic socialism works, and it is a peaceful way of living in a modern world. And I believe that that's, you know, what we ought to strive for, is to help each other out, create a system where we're all doing well, where, you know, I mean, Norway, look at Norway, no elderly poverty in their country, none, zero, because they take care of their people. And they're quite happy, and they have a very high living index, higher than the United States, folks. So, and it's not just because it's a smaller country. If we could create something like that here, but we're not going to do it unless we, you know, we demand it. So I'm taking to the streets on January 20th. I'm in Eugene, Oregon. I think the Women's March is going to start at 1. I'm going to get out there at about, I don't know, 12:30 with my impeach Trump signs. I'm thinking I'm going to make some brochures out or something like that, just to kind of rabble rouse. But I'm going to probably make a post tomorrow night. I don't know. I have something on my mind. I have something else I want to talk about. So maybe tomorrow night I'm not going to read anything. I don't know what I'll do. But anyways, put your courage feet on, you guys. By the way, this is the peace sign. It's not V for victory. It's the peace sign straight out of, like, I guess, 60s. That's what the Beatles used to do. Peace sign. So, ciao, you guys. Take care. Put your courage feet on. Take some action.